All right, so we're gonna fix this crack here. It's pretty decent size, and if I were just to spackle it and sand it and prime it and paint it, there's a really good chance it would come back. So I'm gonna go ahead and mud it and tape it up. All right, so I've got some joint compound. I have a 5-inch blade. I have a 2-inch blade. That's just to get the mud out of the little small bucket that I bought of mud. I have a knife, just in case, and a carbide blade, which I'm going to use to score the crack, open it up a little bit. And I have a piece of mud tape, which I've already wet down. Okay, so first I'm going to take the carbide blade, I'm going to run it down the crack, just to clean it out a bit. And then run over the top of it. All right, so that's fairly flat. Take my knife, just clean out any other stuff that's in here. Okay, and then just take some mud. You don't have to turn this into a gigantic project, it's pretty straightforward. So then you want to lay some mud across the middle here. And don't be afraid to apply it liberally for this part of it. And you want to make it at least as wide as the tape. All right, and take your tape and lay it over the joint. Okay, don't press down too hard with your fingers. You're going to do that with the knife. So then clear your blade off. And then hold one end, either the top or the bottom. You can't see it, I'm out of frame. I did a close-up so you guys could see it close up. But my finger is holding the very top of the tape because I want to make sure that it doesn't slide down. And then I'm lightly scoring the tape. Okay, moving the mud. Now, starting in the middle, I'm going to press down a little harder and I'm going to work my way out. I do this because I don't want bubbles to happen. And then work my way up. Okay? Now what I did here is I took the blade and I'm laying it pretty heavy on this side, but I'm leaving it up a little bit on this side. So it's called feathering. So I'm trying to feather the putty in there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And same thing with this side. All right, so that's it for now. We'll come back to it tomorrow when it's all dry. So here's what it looks like after our very first pass. So I've applied 3 coats of mud to this, and now I'm ready to sand it down. So I'm going to use a 150 grit. You could use something, actually I'm using 120 grit. So I'm using 120 grit. You could use something a little bit. So remember when we mudded this, I have a piece of tape running down here. So I want to be kind of careful about how far I sand through it. right? Because if I go too far, I'm going to hit the paper. So I want to create a nice, smooth, round top. I want to get this smooth. Spend more time on these ends than in the middle, right? I'd also really recommend using a dust mask for this. I'm not wearing one because I want to be able to talk to you guys. Okay, you'll notice I'm also making complete strokes across the entire thing, and then you want to rub your hand across it. Now there's bound to be a little bit of undulation, but if it's really smooth, the drywall itself is pretty smooth. Nice long strokes across the entire thing of mud. Right? And then I got a little bit of mud on the trims. Just want to sand that off. You notice I'm using the corner of my sheet here to get in there. All right, there you go. Nice and soft and pretty. Ready for prime, after you dust it off. Okay. Now we're gonna prime this. So I'm just gonna take a dust brush and dust it off. Okay, and you could take a tack cloth to it if you wanted to. All right, now you could do this a couple of ways. One is you could brush it. Okay, this is a polyvinyl acrylic. It's a PVA. It's a primer meant for new drywall and mud. Okay, so you can brush it like that, but what I'm gonna do is roll it, because I know it's hard to see, but this is, even though it's a smooth wall, it's been rolled a few times, so now it has these stipple marks in it, right, from the paint, from the old paint. So I'm gonna roll it because I wanna start creating a texture to match this texture, okay? So you see, we get a nice little texture there. Now that's gonna flatten out quite a bit when it dries, but it's a good start. Okay, so just roll across it. And you want to make sure that you don't stop and create these edges. You want to feather these things out. So you've got too much here, so clean that out. You want to feather these out, okay? You do not want this, right? This is a bad example. That's over-exaggerated, but okay, so you want to feather those areas out. So then roll across it. And then just work your way down. And then you can use the brush. You see, I'd use the brush to cut in this top part. I'm going to roll as close as I can. All right, that's all you got to do.